Parsnick on the beat.
The Babbling Heads podcast.
Yo, what's up? This is the Base 187 and welcome to the Babbling Heads podcast.
I'm DJ Fingaz.
Charlie Ecstasy.
And today in studio we have Leroy van der Rede, aka Yes Please and Thank You, a performance artist as well as owner and founder of famous for fuck all Streetwear Apparel.
Thank you guys very much for having me. Very happy to be here.
Thanks for doing this, man. Let's start off like we always do, just to get not even a brief. Give us as much detail as possible as to where you grew up and how you came in the game and how you came to be who you are.
Okay. So basically my childhood was different to most in terms of not staying in one particular place around the Cape. I've grown up in multiple places, whether it was Surrey Estate, whether it was Lansdowne, Ottery. We moved around a lot because my father was a musician, a drummer and a vocalist. And his job entailed just having to move us around and basically make ends meet wherever it was possible. But that also afforded me the opportunity to meet people from different walks of life that I wouldn't necessarily have met if I stayed in one place. But I was also few and far between on having friends when I grew up.
Oh, yeah.
Not to have a sad story.
That's
And then in terms of music, or where my background started, like I said, my dad influenced me a lot. He started taking me along to gigs when I was like 3 years old. That instilled a lot of just the rhythm. Like a story, for example, is my mother couldn't watch me for some reason this one night, and it was a Langarm gig. And because he's a drummer, like he had me there in the thing, put me by the bass drum. So for some reason, from like a young age, I remember that rhythm and stuff. I guess that's why I went into producing. I like drums. I'm shit at drumming. My brother's actually a pretty good. I just don't have the actual hand-foot coordination. But that shit's always stuck with me. And then the thing that I've always found that I've been good at since a young age and like the most is the use of the English language, and poetry and writing songs was always something that stuck with me from like the age of 8. I started writing little things, and then it grew into me performing. I don't know if you guys remember when Zula had, what was this called, Verses. It was this poetry event like every Wednesday on the last week, Wednesday of every month. And you had like dope poets, like people like, what's the bro's name? Saul Williams. They used to do these international slam competitions, and the one year he was coming down and I made it to the finals. I lost to a great guy called the Hobo Poet. He was Mal. But yeah, I got to the finals of that, so I didn't get to meet Saul. But anyway, so that poetry has always been a huge influence for me, jazz music. But then also personally, I just love R&B and hip hop as well. So it all culminated in me becoming a producer, poet, and singer, and all those things.
Yeah, seeing that you like, in the in part of the youth, right? How do you navigate being your age and making music that, because your sound it sounds now, but it sounds matured as well.
Yeah.
So how do you see yourself moving forward? Because I mean, like I said, like I told you, Jay-Z releases albums now, and it sounds like now, but it still has that true flavor to who he is.
Yeah. And he's clever enough to throw in one or two now words or phrases just to keep it relevant. He's very smart at what he does. But I think, like we were talking about this earlier, this is something I always grapple with. I always have, and I always up to now. I'm a warrior, man. Like not a warrior. I'm a warrior, but a warrior. I worry about a lot of shit. So the thing of like age and being too old for whatever you do and not having enough time is always something going back that's been on my mind. And I set a goal for myself a long time ago that, funny enough, if I didn't reach the heights or specific points that I wanted to by the time I reached like 35, 36, that I might either last it or I might just ease back on doing it full time. and I've achieved a lot of personal goals. Like some people, everything is relative, I think.
Yeah.
So in terms of everything being relative, Jay-Z and Nas made a massive career from age like, Nas was like 18, 17. Jigga was like, 20 something when he popped off properly. So they have the affordability to do it at a later age still. Whereas with me, I might have reached personal goals, but it might not be what people call, it might not be radio hits and things like that. So it's a different, it's all perspective. But me, I'm pretty happy with a lot of things that I've achieved. There's still much more I want to do, but it's something that it's a conscious decision every single day when you wake up to be like, is your heart still in this?
Yeah.
And do you have what it takes to still push it?
No, I like that because what you're saying now, if you're gonna do something for a plateau, or you're reaching for a plateau, and you think that other people's opinion on that plateau makes who you are,
Yes.
then you're gonna be disappointed because you're never gonna be happy, man.
And I found that out the hard way. And I know we're going to speak about the clothing brand separately later, but to be very honest, a lot of those things that I've grappled with, my personal life and my music life, birthed the brand of Famous for Fokko, because in my early years, honestly, all I wanted to be was famous. I wanted to be known. I thought it would get me kindness, all of that. And those things do apply and they're true, but as you get older and wiser and you find out that you actually love, because I think some people do this thing purely because of those things, but I actually loved music from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I found when I started making a certain type of music to try and chase those things, that it just wasn't fulfilling at all. You know what I mean? So now I try to set my goals according to what I actually align with, so to speak.
No, yeah.
Oh, yeah, sounds like very melodic, so it's like always the jazz element definitely shines through. And I think I saw when I was going through your page a photo of the old room in the house, like where you guys used to jam, you, your brother and your dad.
Nice catch.
It's like, dope. It's like that, having that kind of influence. Going back to your name, your moniker that you're using, and I can see it's derived from English grammar and like all the mannerisms, know your P's and Q's. How does Yes Please and Thank You, is that a result of your upbringing? Or?
No, to be honest, I think that's the most, I'm not a rapper. I can rhyme, I can write, I can put words together, but I think the most MC thing about me is going through like 20 different names throughout my career, just to find the one that stuck with me, and through certain stages of my life, certain things meant more. But then I got to the point where, I don't know, it was almost just like, what's the most different thing that people are gonna, when they see it, they're gonna be like, what the fuck? What does that even mean? You know what I mean? But then also, back in my mind, I always had this thing where a certain few group of people who always loved my music and rock with it before it was even out.
Yeah.
Whenever I'd give them a new piece of music to listen to, their first response was, yes, please, and thank you, give me more. So that kind of just stuck and resonated.
Your sounding board, essentially.
Yeah.
Your visuals also, I know you mentioned earlier on that you didn't want to go into this half-heartedly. And it's quite evident in terms of your visuals and your music videos that you've put out, is that there's a standard, a quality that is here. I mean, we played a raw video for you that Charlie shot early on.
Yeah.
But I mean, yours, is it, I don't know how to pronounce the editor or the producer, is it YPen? Example, YPenty.
So that's me.
Oh, is it you?
So YPNTY is the short end. So for what I think what you're referring to is the Born and Raised video with the cars. So that was my first and only one so far that I've directed and storyboarded and everything. Shot by Dylan Brown from Papa Brown, who's amazing. You guys know him. But I've always kind of, so the first video I ever shot was the Toast video for my first EP. And it's funny, again, going back to what's important to you. All of my videos start out like this. Like, the first thing I go to is, there must be a good-looking chick in the video. It must look sexy. I want to keep it classy, but it must be sexy. And then the closer and closer, literally the day before the shoot, I'm like, you know what? This just seems like we're just copping out and we could do something better. Because I've had another idea, but now I'm trying to just show a half-naked person on screen for views. So literally that goes to my head until the last day. So eventually when we shot that first video, we had Chris Sketz, who happens to be
yeah.
no Chris is.
Yeah, no Chris.
So he was introduced. He was a friend of a friend at the time, and that was the first song he heard, and he was just like, "Bruh, whatever you want, you don't have to charge, whatever. I'll help you with the concept. What's your concept?" And the art director who came aboard was Nabu, who is also an amazing filmmaker now, and she helped me with the art direction. And basically, the concept that I came up with was these women wearing flowers and walking me to an unknown place, like I'm going into the next stage of my destiny, whatever. Yeah. But it was inspired by this drawing that Salvador Dali did, because I like surrealism and things like that. So immediately when people first saw that video, and that's like the first real thing they heard out of me, they were like, "This is so different, you know? Like, who does this? Is a chick walking with flowers on her head? What is this?" So I think I like
flowers on the head. The whole head is flowers.
I like twerking in a video as much as the next guy, but I think it's far more interesting to bring something that's
thank
like.
You.
Yes, please and thank you. All of us love twerking.
So how did you and Malcolm hook up? Because that's a dope track, dude.
First time I met Malky, I think, was I just got off stage with Linkris at Northern Lights, and immediately he was in a cypher. I don't freestyle. I don't have the ability, but I was in awe of this cat. I had heard about him a little bit, but that's the first time we shook hands, and we didn't speak again for like a while until I can't remember when we like first, but he's become like a proper friend to me. That guy he's a solid person, man.
No, I actually miss Linkris's presence within the scene with Catalyst Productions.
We all do.
And especially Northern Lights. I mean, I think after Classics died out, after Zula, as you mentioned, Zula was one of the main platforms in the inner city, and then when he took up basically the baton and he took it forward and with Northern Lights. Yeah. I mean, that golf course was just, and I think I went to about 6 events at Northern Lights. I still have the sticker somewhere.
Yeah.
But no, definitely Catalyst Productions has made a major impact, and I mean, I've seen Linkris from his battling days.
Yeah.
Before he linked up with Simon with the Hemelblism.
Even the way, you know, I always have the utmost respect for that man. And whenever I'm on a platform, I tend to talk about him, but it's because he played such a big role in my journey. Yeah. The first, I think, songs, like I said, the first video I did was that Toast thing, but that's the first thing that he saw and basically introduced him to me. But the first song where people like knew me like from the next day after that performance, after that song dropped a week before that, was the one we did together, 50 Shades of Brown. And like out of the blue, this man just called me, discovered me on SoundCloud, and he was like, because if you know Linkris's music and you listen to mine, you wouldn't say necessarily those two things gel together.
Exactly.
But he has the foresight and the vision to see something could be built there. Yeah. And something new, man. And I think we have unfortunately a few tracks that have been recorded but probably will never be heard. Yeah. Which is cuck sad.
Why?
But because he's out the game, and
so you don't want to release it?
Yeah, just out of respect for him.
I want to still get him in just for an interview.
I wish you the best of luck.
No, I worked on his first album.
Is it?
Yeah, I did an intro of his first album. Yeah.
Well, before that,
I'm not sure. What was her?
Bloed
is his full length album.
The intro on it, yeah. I did the scratching on it.
Okay.
I remember doing that. He's a lekker Brahman.
Ja.
De laatste wat ik misschien was nog bij van Hildewood events.
I think it was, I'm not sure it was Hip Hop in Daba or the thing that we did at the waterfront.
No. It's so by Jolly Cup.
Oh, okay, then it would have been either, I think that would have been African Battle Cry.
ABC, yeah.
ABC.
That would have been ABC.
Yeah. So the track, what can you explain the track you did with us? How it came up? No.
I would actually, I was hoping to. Funny enough, I don't know if you guys saw. So I just a few days ago I posted on my YouTube this song. So this song was recorded in 2005. It was my younger brother. He's also
the jazz one.
The jazz one, yeah. So basically, this is a song in 2005. One of the now best pianist, Nicholas Williams, who was mentored by Abdullah Ibrahim himself.
Dollar Brand.
Yeah. So he was a good friend of mine, and this is like just a year out of high school. And we literally just smoking bongs, woke up the next morning and decided, Kiki, we want to battle, but because he's a jazz musician, I sing and make beats, and my brother rhymes. So we're like, let's make something on the spot. And that came out. And years later, the first thing Linkris sends me when he says we want to do a song, he had his verse done, send me the verse, Goth Soul produced the beat. And immediately, the structure, the melody, everything sounded like that verse from that song was made for that. Because I never released that. That was just something we did in a bedroom live. And it turned into 50 Shades, which was the most amazing. That to me shows me, and it reminded me that music is timeless. You know what I mean? You can be sitting on stuff from 10 years ago, but you think, like, it might not be the right beat for it now, it might not be the right feature, but eventually, if it's good and it's a message that needs to be out, it will find its place. You know what I mean?
You said you produce, no? You make beats and stuff. Do you still do that? Do you still?
Since I've been working with, so mainly I work with Goth Soul and I work with Jedi Knight or Storm Looper as his production name goes. So those are my brasa and that's who I work with. So what that allows me to do is, because when I'm in production mode, I tend to try and wear all hats at the same time, which takes. If you've ever tried to record something, write something, and produce and watch the levels at the same time, when you go into performance mode, I find that it detracts from, because I'm busy watching the levels and kak. But then I forget when I listen back, I'm like, nah man, but I forgot to be an artist and a performer. So when I'm with Goth, it allows me to just do what I do and express myself. And also, because because we worked together so long and we always clicked. He's one of those people that's a real producer, not just a beat maker. Where he will tell me, I'm catching on kak here, do it again. Shout, we go back and forth in shouting matches. Do the shit right, we're not leaving here till you do it right. So
I agree with you because sometimes it takes time and it takes your time, it takes your effort, it takes everything, maybe now
Things take time.
You're busy. Like for myself as well. When I'm busy, making a song, then I go back to the beat and I change something. Like it's everything but the cut.
Or you make as you're saying the word, you're thinking about, okay, the beat can drop there, let me go back to it, or check the levels. So you need to. There's nothing wrong with doing more than one thing. I think we should all like me over the years, I've managed to become an okay videographer, an okay editor. I taught myself that does video, and Born and Raised I edited myself. And that was the first time I'd edited a video. So you can teach, and you should teach yourself to do these things. Especially, that's my advice for anybody coming up. If, like, I don't know if younger artists are still like doing the looking for a label thing, but even if you are, I would advise you first learn most of the industry yourself. Learn how to do the shit yourself, so that when you get to that space, you're not a fool. You know what it takes. You know what the people are talking about. Don't just expect somebody to come and give you money and then run with your vision. You know, have the insight.
And I agree with you 100% because, like, I've taught myself how to do everything, man. I taught myself how to edit. I taught myself how to record. Like, I'm how to make beats. I've been doing it now for almost 10 years. And no, every MC in Cape Town don't have an excuse, man. They don't have an excuse because you can't do this shit yourself. If I can do it, anybody can do it. If you can do it, anybody can do it.
But in the same token, there's some people who I consider like supreme lyricists who, if you don't make beats, that's like, because like I say, I can write and shit, but there's other people I look at that spit, and I can't stand up to you because that's what you do solely. So I'm even going to try and go into your lane. Like I never... No freestyles, focal. I don't try and go into that space. I have my pen game and shit, but that's another separate talents. But if you are able, like you say, to at least try to learn, then why not do it? You know what I mean?
Now the reason why I say that, man, is because everybody is waiting for a handout, man. You're not supposed to wait for a handout. You're supposed to go and do it yourself, man. If you really want it, then do it yourself.
You know, it's another thing. When I was like, maybe now 10 years ago or something, when I was coming up, I think we all follow kind of the same thing. And it's just a case of being young and not knowing everything. Where you'd hit people up who you see in a bigger position and you think, okay, this person can help me, and you send them something and they not even give you the cold shoulder. They nicely tell you, sorry, this is not for me, or I can't help you. But you in your head is like, nah, fuck Deborah, you think he's better than me, all this kind.
yeah.
Not knowing where this person is. They've got 50 people messaging them every day because they're at a certain level, because they've spent time, money, effort.
Yeah.
So eventually when I got to that point and I started getting young kids messaging me, I was like, oh shit, so this is what it's like now.
I can relate to that. Dude.
You know what I mean? But I still try and be nice, but there's some people who are so, I don't think they're in it for the love, because they firstly, the way they approach you in the DMs is just unprofessional. They're rude. They expect shit now when you've given me nothing. I don't, like, what have you done? You know what I mean? At least come to the table with something. So that's, again, some advice for people coming up. Just
I inboxed the bra once. I was like, kijk, waar krijg je numbers as a DJ, man?
Yeah.
The bra is me. Google it, bra, man. Google it.
Yeah.
And I felt, kijk die gemos.
Yeah.
Ik heb mezelf gefokken dingen op Google. But he was basically just saying, dude, do for self, man.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with your hands.
That's you can Google.
Yeah, exactly.
But I wanted a handout basically. But now, but going forward, I was sick about 2000 and something. En dan is het nah, but they can nog al zelf doen, man.
Yeah.
And I would suggest the rapper knows at least the basics of production, because your end song can actually become doper.
Yeah.
If you have some idea, dude, dan was het hij goed doen. Zoals ik misschien hij even
Yeah.
opzet. Je hoeft niet die hele ding te masteren, maar zij kan samen met producer praten en zeker doen.
It's like on the production side, like you were asking me if I still produce, so I don't really make beats anymore. But when it comes to treating my vocals, although Garth will handle most of the production, when it comes to my vocals, he send that shit to me because I know exactly my each pitch, every single thing that I want done to it. I know already. I have my settings, so he doesn't even bother going into that.
Okay.
Send it back to him, and then he finish the mix, or we send it to somebody else to master. But like you say, there's certain things, having that knowledge already just eases the process. You know what I mean?
And just the language, man.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the language barriers, as you know, with the ding is,
Yes.
hij ding a lot, or zoals hij gepraat van de editing, just the language.
And also, so for example, on a track like this, so I had that beat made a while ago, but if you hear the original beat, it didn't have any of that oomph and the sub basses under it. So I just happened one day in the session to play the track to Garth. It was just me singing lazily on the track. The tempo was slower even. And he heard it. He's like, this is quiet, but I can turn it into something. And I think I just started working with him, Vola. Let me try and get him on the track. And then it turned into that. So he took the structure and the melody, but the moment I heard his version, I'm like, I can never listen to mine again. That's the one.
Let's play this video, man. Away.
I think I'm gonna.
Out here, wondering if they see me. I'm fighting for my life out here, knowing they don't need me. Every curse is a heartbreak and I can't take it. Complicated, try to flip my situation, but it's heavy weighted. Holding on to life out here. Wondering if they love me. I'm fighting for my life out here. You can bet it's gon' get ugly. Every verse is an offering to the altar of my ego. Every win is a fuck you to the fuck boys that we know. So watch out for your life out here before it disappears.
Like poof, like ooh, that's cold. I choose, I know my truth. That's how I show up and I shoot when I walk the roads that I choose until the soles of my shoes start to corrode all the way through. When I'm too far gone from home to find new ones, I'm caught up in the middle of depression in the battlefield. I'm fighting for my life, I got my battle gear. When the one war's done, then another gon' come, so I might not even make it to my latter years. I'm 6'3" and it's still out of reach. I might need somebody to bring me a ladder here. I'm trying to ball like an athlete, I got no jumper, hard than ass cheeks, I'm not no runner. I don't call shots, but I sure as hell take it. 4 o'clock in the morning, studio floor quaking. A different course to yours, but it got my jaw aching. I breathe fire, I ain't never seen raw bacon. Y'all taking your time, I see the bar raising. I see the time ticking too, and I ain't partaking. A brazen hell is an up and comer's mind. The flames of hell is an up and comer's shine. I'm fighting for my life out here. I need me a mic out here. I can keep it lit until it's light out here. What's the vibes out here? You alive out here? I'm fighting for my life out here. I need me a mic out here. I can keep it lit until it's light out here. What's the vibes out here? You alive out here?
These skies, I don't see a single motherfucking star in these skies.
A rapper's just a bum in disguise. I don't see a single motherfucking star in these guys. Love that way to end this.
Yo, dude, to be
Okay,
honest with you, that
you guys-
was the fuck me, bro.
For some reason, that video I like a lot more than, just personally from a creative standpoint, I like it more than the bigger one, which was the Born and Raised. But the Born and Raised got way more views than that, if you can check it out. But do you guys get the story behind it? Like, I don't know if people just don't fang it, if it was trying to be too meta.
Changing roles is like...
Yeah, it's basically fighting your inner demons.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's because we didn't have the production quality to do the invisible chair properly, or I don't know, but
No,
for some reason it didn't click the way I wanted it to, man. So, you know, sometimes shit goes like that.
Ja, nee, maar ik denk het is een perfecte nummer. Ik denk het is dope. Het is nicely orchestrated, lyrics-wise en dingen.
Thank you.
Ik denk, Woela het eerst gestaan door die heren. Cool uitgedeeld het. Hij het eerste lijn
Most def.
Nee, hij is een cool, bro.
Was het die ene?
Top one.
Yeah, top one's the video.
Ah, wait, oké, Nana, ons kan het nooit checken, gewoon. We willen niet voor zeker maken, het is op, sinds het laat het nog, dan is het oké.
Big screen.
Ah, wait.
It's all fun and games till there's money on the line. Then you pop everything. It was never platonic because she danced with dollars and she already a dime. Now she on the Sega Mega Drive type Sonic shit. Spinning around the pole for the gold ring scholarship.
Fingers.
And I don't call her home.
Sinds het die salat wat die
Oh, wait, dat groen pap.
En ik help op.
The saturation. The saturation.
Ah, wait.
This beat is mine, by the way.
Oh, wait. I love what you did with the kick, though.
City of the brown skin. My lineage been lit by campfire and the Koi Sun Kings that surround it. Chiefdom, we ain't done. It'll take a couple more forever till they find a way to blow our flame out. Story of a good kid. To learn the hard way to get it stepped on is a gift with the
Sprite
good kid.
product placement.
But when the going get tough, you
Coke
become
after sound, they put it.
Oh, yeah?
when you lay them
That's
cards
when the credits.
down. Greatness in the making. Got all my ancestors, blood flowing up and down all through my veins, man. And I protect the G code, ain't no cheat codes, but I decode what the DNA be spilling out. Please don't try to fuck with me, cause you don't have that luxury.
Is in de Astro, ne?
You regret it.
Yeah, bridge down.
Dude, die production is wel fuck, man, op je vocals, man.
Came into
Thank
this
you.
world armed like a fucking spirit bomb was attached to my palm. Had to drop it on these motherfuckers. 86 birthday soldier. Daddy drove that Corolla all the way from that hospital to the neighborhood where he grown up. And mama tried to raise me good, but the city sorta took over. 86 birthday soldier. Daddy drove that Corolla all the way from that hospital to the neighborhood where he'd grown up. And mama tried to raise me good, but the city sorta took over.
Drone shot, denk het is hier. What the fuck?
Carlsen, ne? Hey, Golden Dish.
Had to.
You have to, baby.
Dude.
86 birthday soldier. Daddy drove that
Hello?
Corolla.
Hello.
All the way from that hospital to the neighborhood where he'd grown up. And mama tried to raise me good,
Mono
but
Joe.
the city sorta took over. 86 birthday soldier. Daddy drove that Corolla. All the way from that hospital to the neighborhood where he'd grown up. And mama tried to raise me good, but the city sorta took over.
And this song goes into, basically, it's the first track on my new album that's dropping now.
Dude, to be honest with you, no? To be
That's
honest
my,
with you.
sorry, that's my late grandmother's house. Just, God bless her soul, man.
Oh, yeah. Just to be honest with you, no, I've such a big problem with MCs these days because or whoever produce them and like nigga, can't you hear the shit is overcompressed, man? Like how can you production? I'm not saying the production
Yeah.
is cut, but
I think the overcompressed thing is kind of a standard, and if you're trying to make radio music, it's almost become necessary because people want to push the highs, push it to make it the most popping thing when they hear it come through the speakers.
I get what you're saying, but it's not necessary for you for you to sound like you in a box.
Yeah.
In a box. I hate music that's overcompressed.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
They, like most producers don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, maybe
But
you're
that
overcompressing
that
the
beat
fucking
I
thing.
purposefully wanted to make it more. It sounds a bit more low end, more underground, more 90s. You know what I mean? Got the vinyl scratches in the back, all that
I
stuff.
love that fucking work on the vocals, man, bro. To be honest with you.
Thank you.
Nou, ik is niet blij, man. Ik is niet blij dat het is like a matured sound, a matured visual. Ja, man. Ons kan niet bouncing rond.
Ja.
Zo weet,
Oh,
skinny jeans. You know what I'm saying? Ik voel misrepresented, man. Of unrepresented. These are meer. This is shit that I can play.
Yeah, like listening to that track specifically is like immediately it brought to mind Jimmy Nevis and also Athlone born and raised. But yeah, you could actually give him a run for his money in this.
Nah. That man has a again.
No, it's got a voice, but it just has a feel.
I never bullshit anybody or myself especially, and I know my voice is not. It's in the middle, but I know I can do things with it, and coupled with my production skills that are very different to the sound that's, especially in Cape Town. There's not too many people I'd say that.
Not necessarily the voice, but the
as
feel.
a pure
the
vocal,
feel.
I agree. But vocally, I'm not trying to win awards.
Nah, but you are more like a what is it? I'm also on the West Coast.
Night Dog.
Night Dog. This is so,
You know what's so crazy? That's the very first thing that Lankra said to me when I joined the team.
No,
That's
dat is fucking waar because soos ek nou you one of those few artists. Daar's nie baie van jou tipe nie, man. You know what I'm saying? Dude.
Yeah.
So why didn't you work with Claimfontein?
We just didn't. We ran out of time. If you want full disclosure, I was almost going to join Catalyst, like a week or two after meeting Lindley. But then I just decided it wasn't necessarily there was still a lot more of my own individual music that I wanted to make, and I just felt it might be too much of the combining. But if you look at where I've gone now, I do a lot of features now, like especially people like Malky and people like and Jedi and those people. Like I like working with people, but at that time I think I was working on my first full album, which dropped last year, and that was like in 2017. So there's things for me. I like to take my time on shit. If I know I'm gonna do like a big project, and I think some people jump into a lot of stuff too quickly without saying yes, not knowing the shit actually takes time. Even if you record it today, that this stuff I record today and only drop in 2 years, because like if it's something that feels more relevant to now, we'll put it out now. But if it's something that's long lasting, I'll take my time with it. Because I wanted to be I still believe in albums. I know people they don't buy the shit. But I grew up loving albums. The first proper hip hop album I bought with my own money when I was like 10, 11 was Ready to Die, I think, or Life After Death, one of the two. So, like a body of work that tells a story, I still love that shit. And I mean, I like streaming sites too. I like that you can curate your own sounds, but I like to hear an artist's full story, the way they intended to tell it.
You know what I think? What I think we should do, no? Like coming back to the point of you can do it yourself, man. I think we should actually for the lighters out there, for the men in your inbox.
Yeah.
We should I actually wanted to do this a couple of years ago. I want to record an album. I want to show them how you can record an album in a month's time.
Yeah.
Finished. From production, from beats, from everything, man. Like, just give them a how-to. Yeah. You now know how to do this shit, man.
Yeah.
You know, like, this is the work ethic that you need to follow. If you want to do this, if you want to achieve something, follow this guy.
I do think there's like that's one of the dreams I always had was not a label or anything, but I always wanted to, if I had reached a point where I made enough money to be able to form some kind of platform to boost other artists.
Oh, yeah.
Because when coming back to the age thing, even if I'd become a superstar, if that had happened, I still know that there's an age limit to certain. I also don't like back to your point about Jay-Z. I still love him, but I think there's certain things that you speak about when you're in your prime that you don't like. You need to make way for the new generation, is what I'm saying, and not just make way for them. You need to impart the knowledge on them.
Yeah, but
the right ones.
But
you
what
know
I'm trying to say, that's a very. I realized that a while ago when I was on Good Hope. There needs to be a bit of a conveyor belt, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mike, closer.
Oh, sorry about it. There needs to be a conveyor belt where the new things come in, but at the same time, when you're done with that platform, whatever, or that the eyes is on you, there needs to be a structure for you to be
comfortable and sustainable.
And still,
look at it
still make music.
Look at it like professional sports. So if a NFL player or a rugby player has reached their prime, they go into commentating or they go into coaching or maybe being a manager. Yeah. So it's a similar thing. It's a competitive sport that we're in.
Yeah.
So we need to, but not all of us can run record labels and things like that.
But not just that. If you think about rock and that die mense hulle fucking tot tot hulle fucking 60, 70
True.
But with hip hop, we tend to forget about our
but they're doing it internationally. If you think about it, look at Eminem. Eminem is still relevant now, but he brought 50 to the mense. He gave you 50. So
I don't know if this is a stupid comment or whatever. I just think because I do.
Oh yeah, he's up 50.
Yeah,
I think
is old.
There's something when you watch even an older artist stand, especially they play like an instrument, a guitar, whatever, or you say take it to jazz. Like jazz is just the type of thing where you can lam they tell you like Ray Charles age, whatever, and you still look cool doing it. But there's certain things where it starts to feel like the expiry date is past. Yeah. So it's not to say that it is, it's just that's the perception. You know what I mean? You don't have the same energy on stage. You don't. Whereas maybe a rock artist with a guitar can lam there and just be seductive, standing still. So there's elements to it.
Bro, I'm gonna have to disagree with you just because of one reason.
Sure.
Michael Jackson could have done that.
Yeah, but there's an alien. But it's an alien. It's Michael Jackson.
It's Michael Jackson. But now I'm just joking, man. I'm not actually disagreeing, but I'm agreeing with you also.
I invite disagree. Like I said, when I started, I said I don't know if it's a stupid thing to say. I just
I don't see Foxy Brown or the Brat on stage now. It's like you reach a certain sell by that, as you said.
Or you do and it don't feel the same. Like if you see Lil Kim now and what the fuck she did to her face. I get it. There's pressure. Like there's always been this thing to uphold the standard of whatever it is, beauty or just being young, being relevant. But I also think don't turn yourself into like a caricature of yourself.
But after had a tour with all of them with the locks and it was quite successful, no?
The last thing I saw is when they did that Bad Boy reunion. I didn't see the verses yet. The Bad Boy reunion a few years ago on like MTV or something. That was before.
And the rest did the verses also, no? Kairos One and
I heard so, yeah.
Big Daddy Kane. I didn't.
One day, did they do it already?
Sorry, man. Ja, dat sorry, man. Yeah, they did it already.
Okay, because I heard he was trying to look for a worthy opponent, KRS. Yeah.
No, dat was toch al... Ik heb 10 snippets gezien.
Knowledge reigns supreme.
Anyway, is the microphone?
Yeah, it's fine.
Sorry.
Fingers.
Can we
But
move on?
To your clothing brand, man.
Yeah. I was gonna get there. But
Oh, before we do that though, I don't know if you guys know. I do actually, just shameless plug here. I have an album, second full-length album coming up, dropping 5th of November,
Requiem.
called Requiem. And what's exciting for me, firstly, is 22 tracks. So now we're talking about coming full circle. What we were mentioning about age and certain songs being timeless. So some of the songs is things that dropped as singles. Some is stuff that I've made a while ago that I just never felt it was the right project to drop it on. And some is newer stuff. And with the name itself just being a requiem, it's just like a mass for the dead. Something to celebrate, something that has moved on and we go on to the next thing. So that's why I put this body of work together, just to be like, this is where I've come from and this is what I've done so far. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, we move on to the next thing. But the most exciting thing for me is that this new platform, 1212, started by Neil Bentham and Alan. I forget Alan's last name. But they've created the first music selling platform, not a streaming platform, but where you can buy either. We just started with my last single with Ilro. That was the first single you could buy for like 9 Rand. But the albums are like $80, between 80 and 100 depending. And you're just directly supporting the artist. You know what I mean? You could still go on Spotify and stream it when you want to, but yeah, you can buy it, you can download it, you can own it. So, yeah, man, I just want to give them a shout out. They're doing great work. It's just, it's baby steps right now, but I really think it's a great platform because we're always complaining that the artists don't have proper streams of revenue. So here it is. Take it, run with it, go support it. That's all I ask.
Can you? I'll give you my number later, then you can send me the link and
Will do.
It's on the page.
Okay,
It's
cool.
on the page.
Tell us how it came about that you started your own clothing label and the name. Do you think that it hinders you in going forward, or did you feel like the name is so important? I'll stick to it type of move, irrespective of the.
Again, questions I ask myself every day. There's certain things I overthink certain things, and there's certain things that when they come to me, I'm very impulsive about them. But because I have a strong feeling about them. So in terms of the name, and I know what you mean by the hindrance, and it could be maybe properly commercially viable. But at the same time, you have bands that are called Foco Belisica. You have a major skateboard brand, clothing brand in the US called Fucking Awesome. That's their name, and they sell the fuck out. So
you did your research on
I did, but also that wasn't like, I think I was gonna do it anyway. And a lot of people, or the few interviews I've done with it, asked me to explain the name. I've tried to, but I've come to the point where I like the thing about the name and what it means. I like people to place whatever they feel on it. So I don't know if you want to tell me what you think it means, or what you get when you see that
I
name.
actually saw when I went to the page, I saw the video clip that was made when they mentioned the word "focal" in Parliament.
Yes.
And the Speaker of the House is like, "Hey, what does that word mean?"
Well, the EFF.
And he's like, "It's Afrikaans. It means nothing."
Exactly.
No, but
I just think so my take, there's two sides to this coin. And I like the duality of everything, the balance of everything. So on the one side, there's people that get famous and well-known and notable for doing or having no talent. And there's other people who are supremely talented, but they're not known at all. So you can either be famous for Foco or you can be famous for Foco.
The TikTok generation.
If that makes any sense.
Check it, but how do you rank your clothing brand like with other national streetwear brands such as Butenwear and Persuas?
I think it's different, man. I just think, well, I have to compare it to, I don't wanna name names and things, but I don't think it's trying to be, firstly, as a colored person in a colored business, I didn't want to create something that's just taking catchphrases over, because there's enough of that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but that's not my lane. That's not what I'm trying to do. I just happen to be a colored person that has a clothing business. But I'm catering more to, when we call it streetwear, it's the things that I grew up liking. I can't skateboard for shit, but I tried it out when I was younger. I loved that scene. I loved hip hop. I loved graffiti, or one of my best friends is Nordstar. I love graffiti. I love.
Yeah, we had
every-
a sister on the podcast.
yeah,
Raisa.
again, one of my best friends. So I just love, and that's what streetwear is. It's just the, I don't even want to call it anti-culture or whatever. It's just the fuck you to society. You must know the youthful spirit.
Yeah.
And that's all I wanted to embody, man. Something that can take the way that I felt when I was that age and still feel, but even when I'm older, it will still carry on. Even when the music's not there. There's something powerful about somebody wearing, like literally, they say you wear your heart on your shirt, but literally wearing that thing, it's a fucking statement. And it might not be for everybody, but streetwear is not for everybody.
Kijk, I just want to make one point for the gents. I want to ask you guys something, man. Why do you think, why is there still a word like youth? Shouldn't you be youthful even though you're 90? Shouldn't dictate when I say even when you said you need to make space for a new generation, you can be youthful for yourself, man.
Yeah.
Like ek glo vir myself, ek gaan altyd so light wees. I don't care what people think about me.
Look, I think
because
personally you are correct, and I fully agree with you. But if people that know me know I can be an asshole sometimes, and I've followed my heart and my career to a fault sometimes where I'm selfish about it. But having 2 kids, and the older they get, it's just something that you have to be like, okay, it's time to pass the mantle sometimes. It don't mean you're not doing what you're doing, but you have to.
Do it differently, man.
Yeah, and every elder, if you gain wisdom throughout your life, you have the responsibility to pass that down and make sure the next generation catapults. So, like, that's a thing of, like, in Cape Town where they say there's gatekeepers and what, and people try to act like it's not there, but it is there. There's people that try to latch on to their former glory, where they can still be great, but still open the door for the youngers. You know, everything must change, everything must cycle.
True.
Like, I agree with you there. Like, I self have 2 lighties, me bro, and but I'm not gonna let them feel like, look here, you can't do that. That's not my way of teaching them, because my way is like, Kagi, you can do whatever you want to, but there are rules.
Yeah.
There are rules. That's
I think
all.
you lead by example, man. Like for me, that's my thing. When my kids, like my younger son is, what's he turning? 8 now. But 2 years ago already, when he sees me messing around on I still use Reason because I'm an old head, Reason and Cubase. He's like, Daddy, what you doing? You making beats? Can you finally teach me? I haven't gotten to teaching him, but like shit like that. Or now with the clothing, my older son, they even in some of the promos, he's like, I love what you do, and he's a sketch artist. So he's like, can I design some stuff for you? So that, and beyond that, it's just showing them that there's ways to make money other than the traditional going at a 9 to 5. You know what I mean?
Just check your, sorry, Charlie. On the stylistic side, like with most clothing brands, it's more than just printing logos on the front, or like like you said, using catchphrases, whatever.
Yeah.
But like on the stylistic side, a lot of people when they start out, they'll go to Captivity, or they'll go to Vic Bay, whatever, and get pre-production garments. But on the style side, and I've seen this a lot internationally also, it's like, have you thought about creating your own styles, like empowering the CMT, local CMT community?
So to your point, that's what we use. I won't say which ones, but when you're starting out, whether it's South Africa, Cape Town, or America, they have like, what are the major ones? Gildan. They have like 3 or 4 major T-shirt blank brands.
Yeah, Fruit of the Loom and stuff like that.
So there's these brands called like World of Vision or God is Dope, which are like the most recent big brands to blow up in the last 2 to 3 years out of nothing. And all they did to start with, because all you can do is if you don't have a major production or you don't come from a lineage of people actually manufacturing and stitching clothing together, you have to start somewhere. So don't be afraid. Do the most basic thing first. But there's more than just slapping a logo on. Make sure the thing's just first. There's some people that make stuff where I'm like, this is just the most laziest design ever. But then again, simplicity is also key, because the first thing you need to do if you want to push a brand specific name is to make sure that gets ingrained in people's heads. And you have to realize that takes a lot of time and repetition. So don't be afraid to be simple. But what I'm saying is that the the things come over time. Like my family, actually, my cousins, they have a full on manufacturing business where it's like two ladies. They do the stitching, they do everything. And the bigger plan in the future is to go in, because there's certain, like if you talk about t-shirt blanks, I like things that are, not this one, but I like things that are like drop shoulder, oversized sleeves, things like that. And you can't buy that stock off the shelf. You need to stitch that together, and that makes it more unique. But in the beginning, what you can do to set yourself apart is your packaging, the way you deal with customers. Just make yourself unique. Like when my customers get a box, it's a unique experience, and I try to change it up every 2 to 3 weeks to make sure the next batch, if they rebuy again, it's something different. Speaking of which, so I've got a paar stickers for you guys.
Oh,
Swak, man.
Yeah.
Op je laptop gaat tellen.
Laptop. Also, I wanted to add to you, no? I'm still waiting on this man. Hy vat vir ewig. Hier also danges my time is my time. No, he's designing most.
Okay.
Actually, this the logo for the podcast itself. And
the logo for the podcast and
Fingaz is the logo.
He drew that.
You drew this?
No, him.
Oh.
So my tiny. I bought fabric. So my tiny is going to stitch it for me at her work, so I don't have to pay for t-shirts. Then I only have to send it for print, man.
Yes.
Because I obviously want my own t-shirts.
Yeah.
But ik wacht nou nog op die man, bro.
Going back, what's interesting.
Design issue.
Going back, it's so interesting to me how the like for me, this clothing thing has just taught me lessons, but it's also an extension of like the music thing. I think any artistic thing that venture you go into, where I used to have people in my DMs asking me how to do things, but they haven't done the research. Now over the past 9 or whatever months that it's took me to build and learn this business. And it's still baby steps, but I've learned a lot. Now you get people coming that just want, okay, now who's your supplier? Who's your manufacturer? Who's your printer? Can I get a discount? And I like to give people the means to help, but if you're not going to even help yourself, like, do you know how much time and effort it took me to learn this game?
It's a competitive industry.
Exactly.
It's business at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So you have to weigh up the fact that you want to empower the next person, but at the same time also, you need to secure your bag first.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, once I'm entrenched. And that being said, the move to Johannesburg, how is that going to...
So it's twofold. It's not purely just for the business. My wife is, I don't want to get too personal on what she does and whatever, but she's... take it back to COVID. So COVID was a difficult time, and work here was just... It was focal. So she's found something... And she's been there for almost a year now. So we've been apart for that time. So I'm just happy to be seeing her. But also, in terms of setting things up, I'm in the process of it. But surprisingly, there's a lot of cross-platforming from Cape Town to Joburg, where the manufacturers I already work with. So it's slightly easier than you would think if you just... or willing to pick up the phone and make the calls and things.
I know a good illustration artist from Cape Town is currently based in Johannesburg, Dave Andrew.
Okay.
I'm permy on his posts and whatever, always reacting and shit. But the stuff he designs is like dope.
Yeah.
But the plagiarism that happens like shamelessly in Joburg is like...
People biting him.
Someone taking his whole thing and printing it. I mean, I know a case with...
that's the problem of the world today. People are, like, if you look at that shirt right there, there's nothing for somebody to take that and run with it.
Yeah.
But I think it's this, I had this convo with my dad like years back about like, I'd always be scared maybe to put out an idea or even mention it to people. But then when you actually try to start something, whether it's a business or a music career or clothing career, you start to realize that people might bite it for like a week or so until they realize just how much fucking work it takes to sustain it.
Yeah.
Like that shit ain't easy. You maybe sell like 10 teas just biting it, but after that you're like, nah, I actually have to.
Because like that's one thing is like it's easy to be copied, but you won't ever know what your next design is going to be. You're gonna have to wait until that thing is out in the market and then you make a copy.
Exactly.
Oh, wait. I just wanna play his dangas is EPK for his exploding brain.
My hart, maak dit vir jou laat. Ek is van die kap, ek is so ek praat. Dit vir my hart, maak dit vir jou laat. Ek is van die kap, die is waar ons maaks, Dit vir ons haat, maak ons dat jy slaap, Koppels aan my rastas, koppels aan my gattas. As ons die kroon net die, koppel ons met sassa. Hy maats to Namibia en koppel with the bastas. Went to the blast and I koppel with the namas. Slaughtered some sheep and the owens went bananas. Kinders said I'm handsome and
Never fuck me, bro.
Who's rapping on it?
Lunkers.
Lunkers, wat er sê.
Ironically, the name of the other brand.
Oh yeah. But nah, kijk, honestly, honest opinion, me bro. Like I think what you're doing is fuck me, bro, man.
Thank you.
I think what you're doing is fuck because, like, not many artists out there or many people understand that you actually have to make yourself a brand and then create a brand from your brand.
Yeah.
And not many people understand that since so I hope like people can vang tips, man. Hulle vang tips.
It wasn't also an overnight thing. Like I've always been into, you might not tell it from what I'm wearing right now, but I've always been interested in fashion and just growing up, myself and my brother just taking what we had, chopping it up, dyeing it or turning it into something else. And I've tried one or two other brands. I won't even bother mentioning what they were called because I was young and I was just interested in it. But then like 2016, 2017, I did some behind the scenes work on the Fashion Week and Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week in Joburg. And that coupled, so I got to work behind the scenes with them, but then I also got my music like featured for Fashion Week. So it was like a dual, I was like, it's quite to do. I want to look quiet and have the people walking out to my shit at the same time. So it was always an inspiring thing. And I guess the other thing is people have to understand the barrier for entry now is a lot easier than it used to be. Because when I tried it back then, you couldn't buy, you all you had was like screen printing, whereas now you get the option to screen print
Sublimate.
But what we're using is the direct to garment.
Yeah.
So the main point is that like your minimum orders or holding stock, those things you couldn't go in with no budget, with no capital. Whereas now you can at least try it out, even if you don't succeed. Give it a try, and if it works, then you can scale and things like that. But within a few years, 5-6 years, those things weren't possible back then.
No way. I agree with you.
So yeah, looks like we come to the end of the podcast, but thank you so much for coming. Yes, please, and thank you. It's been an interesting journey, and I know a lot of people can take something away from this. There are ways that you can upskill yourself. You do not just have to be linear, because people see hip hop as one thing, but you can diversify your income streams to utilize your creativity to go beyond just being on the mic or behind the production side of things.
Yeah, guys, and if you have an idea, register a business, man. At least try it. Don't put the funds on your personal name. Register a business. Work out your tax. And it's cheap to register a business. Like, start it out small. The first thing, the second thing, the third thing might not work, but at least you gain the knowledge and you start to teach yourself something more than just making songs.
Cool, alright, so from the Babbling Heads, we out.
We out. Peace.
Thanks, guys.
Tijdelijk allemaal.
We off.